Welcome to the Your Limitless Leadership Podcast with Jenny and Brent Widman. Here, we believe leadership isn't just about titles. It's about how you show up in every aspect of life. Whether you're leading a business, building a legacy as an entrepreneur, guiding your family, or striving to lead yourself first, this podcast is for you. Join us as we dive into real conversations about growth, decision-making, and the courage it takes to lead with purpose. Get ready to be inspired, challenged, and equipped to become the limitless leader you are meant to be. This is Your Limitless Leadership Podcast. Let's lead without limits. Welcome to Your Limitless Leadership. Today, we are going to, and you know us by now if you've listened to this, or if you haven't, we talk a lot about leadership, obviously. Jenny and I were both top salespeople. Like, we were really good at what we did, and then we became leaders. And we see a lot of struggle when new leaders come in from doing the same thing. And I know myself, Jenny was way better at it. If you listen to a lot of our other episodes, is she just had this knack for leadership because she's one of the best I've ever seen at accountability and what have you. And just helping people, training people, developing people. And for me, that's part of what we're going to talk about today, is things that I know I struggle with. So we ultimately see other people struggle with it, even the people we coach, because we've coached, goodness, between the two of us, over 10,000 hours. And that's part of what we're going to talk about today. So Jenny's going to spend time really digging in with me, asking me questions about what was my hardest part. And obviously she'll interject too at the same time. But with me is my favorite person in the world, Mrs. Jenny Marie Widman. Welcome, ma'am.
Thanks, Brent. Yeah, I want to take us back to when you first realized you got promoted from the sales person to a leader, and maybe what you even mistakenly believed your job was as a leader, or thoughts around there.
So I went from, obviously, like you're talking about, I was really good at sales. The reason I was really good is because I worked really hard. I made more phone calls than everybody else. I showed up earlier, all the different things, stayed later, all the stuff that goes with it. So I thought I should be in charge because I thought, well, I'm good at this. I should help other people do it. And when I got promoted, if you will, or took my evolution as a sales director, I remember sitting down in my desk the first day and thinking, what do I do now? And my ultimate thing that I did, I went back to what I knew best. I started looking for leads. I started looking for it. And I had 3 people on my team at the time. I started looking for leads. I started looking for who to call. I started looking how to drive business instead of how to help them. And I look back on it now. I didn't know it in the moment, but I look back on it now because I didn't have any training as a leader. I didn't have any development as a leader. I didn't know, honestly, I didn't know what the difference between leadership. I didn't even know what leadership was. Like, I didn't read books at the time. I didn't do any self-development at all. So I can't just blame it on other people saying I didn't get development. I just didn't know. And I know, as weird as that sounds, we're supposed to know these things, but how do you know what you don't know? And I didn't know what leadership was. I don't know how else to answer that. I just didn't know.
So what was the first moment you realized that being great at sales was not going to automatically make you great at leadership?
When I kept having to make phone calls. I thought when I left sales, I even said this out loud to myself. And I said it to one of my best friends, Lucas. I'm like, well, I'm never going to have to make phone calls again. I'm good. But what was my default button? I went right back to it. I thought maybe that's what leadership was, is if I can show them that I'm doing it, they'll just do it. And I thought, because I work hard, because I show up early and I stay late and I get after it and I find the leads and I do all the stuff like a self-generating good salesperson would, that they'll just adopt it. And it kind of smacked me in the face when here's what ultimately ended up happening is, so I worked in a gym and I was putting things under their name so they would get commission for it and make them
Oh
look.
no.
Yep, that's what I did. Talk about enablement. That's exactly what I did is I was giving them the deals. I was closing deals for them. I was making them look really good until somebody asked me one day, and this wasn't even my boss that asked me this. It was just a customer service person that worked at the same spot, asked me, why do you do that? And of course, I stuck up for myself and I stuck up for them, saying, well, that way they get paid and that way they stay around and that way they do well. And that way, that it makes them look good. And that's really the first time. It was probably a couple months into the job that it really dawned on me. But I didn't know how to fix it. I didn't know how to change it because you're so far down the rabbit hole now that they expect it. And now you have to keep doing it. And of course, I didn't want to have that conversation with them. Another thing you're not taught is to have a hard conversation about, we're going to stop this. You need to start working. I didn't have that conversation either. I just kept doing it, basically. Yeah.
I was just talking to a leader the other day about that exact same thing. She was saying that she's the best closer. So it is really hard for her to let deals slip on by. Like anytime someone on her team is about to close the deal or might lose the deal, her default is going to save it. And she knows shouldn't be doing that. She knows she needs to be coaching the people to empower themselves to be able to get better and coach them on what to do. And it's really hard for her, really hard. So you're not alone.
Well, think of it. That's what I mean. We're not alone, but we think when we're on our own little island, our own little bubble, we think we're alone till we talk to a coach, till we're around a community, till we have people within that. And I thought I was alone. I thought this is just the way it was. And I didn't know how to change it at all. So the same thing that she's going through, because what are we paid off? We're paid off revenue. When we're leaders, we're typically paid off revenue. We're paid off our people. So if our people close more, we make more. That's how it typically goes, and that's where she probably struggles with that as well.
What was something in like your first 90 days you wish you heard as a leader, as a new leader?
Here's what you need to do to become successful. I wish somebody would have sat me down. I wish a mentor, somebody who knew it, somebody who could give back the same opportunity that they were given. I look at the people that surrounded me from the sales position I was in to then the leadership position I was in. And again, I'm not blaming it on them, but not one person said, read this book. Not one person said, here's your sales training. Not one person said, here's your leadership development and training. Here's your mentor. Here's a coach. Here's somebody you should talk to every other week that was in a different position than you were in. Every sales meeting, leadership meeting we were in that we had to drive to, here's our numbers. Here's how things are going. What have you been working on? There was no type of like, what happens when this happens? There was no, this is how you plan your day. This is no, here's how you do one-on-ones. There was no, this is how you help them help you. There was no how you just have those hard conversations or hold them accountable or ask them what their goals are, their vision. Like there was none of that. And I have to think that if I was in an organization that there was none of that, think about how many other people have a little bit of that, but don't have a lot of bit of that, I guess, put it that way. There was just a lack thereof. Which is why, I mean, obviously, we're having this conversation to show you that it's out there. For those of you that don't know, sometimes you got to take it upon yourself. And I wish somebody would have told me that as well. Brent, don't depend on other people. Pick up a book, listen to a book, read a book, YouTube, podcast, whatever the heck it is, like do something about it. And that, I didn't know that either. I guess, put it that way.
Well, once you know something, you can't unknow it. So at
That's right.
least you know it now.
Yeah.
Was there anything that surprised you about the emotional weight of leadership, like having other people's goals and money in your hands, and anything that surprised you when you first got into leadership?
I think it's the fact that it rolls downhill. So you have the ultimate, whether it's executive director, marketing, whatever it is, whatever your leader's title is, well, something's rolling down to them that's ultimately rolling down to you. That's what I didn't realize, is that the amount of pressure that I look back on it now that was placed on me to perform, like, kept me up. You talk about Sunday scaries or those types of things where you don't want to go to work on a Sunday and it's already, the anxiety and stress is already starting to seep in. I would think at times that my weekend, after I got done working out on a Saturday morning at like 10:30, that my weekend was all but over. Because now all I thought about was work.
Wow.
Yeah. It was, I don't know if I've ever told you that, but that was hard because it was the pressure of performing, the pressure of hitting the revenue numbers, hitting the club goal numbers that you need to hit. So I actually made money because I got a base salary, which was pretty small. But the only way I was going to be able to pay my mortgage and for Jack and all the other things was if I performed. And we were drastically underperforming, obviously. I
Mhm.
mean, the reason we were underperforming, I could only sell so much. And my two salespeople came in, did a little bit. If somebody walked in, they would show them around. But other than that, they weren't doing outbound, which they should have been. They weren't doing hardly any of that. I was doing all of it. And I'm one person, right? So it got to a point where it was it was a lot. It was, and I know people are feeling this because I guarantee you live in that same world as you feel like you have to do it all, and the pressure is insurmountable on your shoulders.
I mean, it's unfortunate. We were walking the other day, and one of our neighbors was coming this way, and I stopped and talked to her for a little bit, and I was just like, "Hey, like, what's new? What's going on?" And she was like,
Mm.
"Well, I just quit my job on Monday," and I was like, "What?" I mean, she's worked at this company for a decade, and she was like, "No, I woke up one Monday with 20 different Slack messages all night long on Sunday from my leader. And that's when I knew enough was enough. Like, if I cannot even go into Monday with a clean slate, clear head, and I just had all of this anxiety, all of this pressure, all of this just stuff that was on me, and it was hard. And she just said enough is enough, and it was a direct correlation to what you're saying right now, Brent, of I the Sunday scaries, or enjoying what you do, or at least not putting all this pressure on yourself or other people putting pressure on yourself. So if you're a leader and you're putting pressure on other leaders underneath you, I'd also question yourself there, like, how can you reframe and get into coaching instead of expecting or quotas.
Isn't it
So,
crazy that it doesn't matter if you're, I was a couple months into being a leader, or if you're a decade plus into being a leader. If you if you are not getting the development and you're not getting the help that you need because the leader above you or the leaders around you don't see it, you'll end up leaving. I did the same thing. I ended up leaving because I didn't know I was so frustrated at the time, but I was offered to take another job within the organization, another sales job, but it was across town. And I said no. And my leader asked me, well, do you have anything else lined up? And I said no. And he goes, well, what are you going to do then? I'm like, I don't know. I'll figure it out, but I'm not going to do this anymore.
Mhm.
And that's what I said to him because it was so overwhelming. And again, I feel like this is a pity party right now, but you asked me the question, I'm looking back on it because I know people feel the same way as I do, that it's just this weight on your shoulders and all you're trying to do is find help. And if you could do anything as a leader, if you look around at your team or maybe you're the leader of leaders, there are people there that need your help and need you to just shut up and listen or understand where they're at and help them develop. And that is your job. Your job isn't to look good for shareholders. Your job isn't to look good for the leaders around you. Your job isn't to tell people what they want to hear. It's to help those people around you.
Mhm.
And I hope you realize that.
Well, and we're not saying like go out and quit your job or anything like that,
No,
but what
not
I
my
would say is like be the change that you want to see.
yeah.
Like, you can start. You can be the one. You can be the pivot. You can make the difference. And if other people are not following suit or understanding or helping, then maybe you have your answer. But there's options here that you don't have to just be miserable.
The worst part is it then carried me into my next position
Mm,
as well. And I still didn't know. So I started to challenge things. I actually started to challenge other leaders in that next position that I was at. I challenged the owner. And straight transparency, after about a year and a half, I ended up getting let go because I wanted more. I wanted more development. I wanted more help. I just wanted more.
mhm,
And I don't know if they didn't have the resources to do it or obviously my way of doing it wasn't the best way. If you can imagine that. Stubborn Brent Widman trying to get what he wants. Didn't really work out for the best. But again, I didn't know.
mhm,
And I look back on it now, Jen, the question that you asked me, what do I wish I knew? I wish I knew that if I got a coach, that if I picked up a book, that it could be life changing. And I wish somebody would have just told me that. Would I have accepted it? I don't know. Maybe that's part of it, but that's something I wish somebody would have helped me with.
mm.
Put it that way. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, that's me, you're not alone. Let's call it what it is. You've got the drive, you've got the experience, like you have it. You have it. You know what you're doing. But something still feels off at times, or things could be better. We know that they can be. You know there's more. What we do is we help committed leaders go from guessing and grinding to really leading with clarity and structure and confidence. We're offering complimentary DNA strategy calls. We're going to evaluate how you're leading, where performance might be breaking down. It happens. And what really needs to tighten up within your business, within your leadership, within those people around you. Then we're going to take this next step. And what we're going to do is build accountability, the skills, and the systems to create that consistent or those consistent results around it. If you're open to digging in a little bit, the link is below in the show notes. Just book your DNAcall.com and we will find time for you and we will dig in with you. All right, let's get back to it.
I guess a question that goes along with this topic is how do you stop measuring the value of your own production and start measuring it by the development of your people? So I know that's one thing going into sales to leadership. it's really easy to get the recognition when you're the number one salesperson. You know how to get that, right?
Feels
But
good.
how do you shift that recognition to, well, that doesn't matter anymore. Now it matters about the team and the development, and how did you do that?
This is the first answer that pops into my head. Okay. How I shifted from me to them.
Yeah.
I got to know them.
Simple terms.
Yeah. I got to know them. I really took the time to get to know the people around me and started to care about them. They became friends, not just colleagues. They became people that I would invite to a wedding, people that I would call to go out to dinner, people that I would ask to hang out with at night, whatever. Just things like that, that when that started to happen, now when they're walking across the stage, because you know who their spouses are, you know their kids' names, you know they're here because they want to do things, they want to develop, they want to be a better version of themselves, they want to make money. Now I can look at them when they do it and they're walking across that stage, and I can be sincerely happy for them. But until I did all of those things, call it selfish, call it whatever you want, I wanted what was right for me because I had a family and I had to feed my kids and I had to do the thing and I liked that recognition. And at some point, I had to get over myself. And that's what leadership teaches you. But also, that comes through development. It really does. If you watch enough things and you talk to enough people that have been there before you, and you have people like Jenny in your life that say things that you go, I never thought of it that way. But that you're open-minded enough to hear it instead of just listen to it, like you actually really hear it and take it to heart. I can do that. I can change that thing or I can implement that thing. And that's where it changed, where, like, even with us now, when we sell stuff or when I sell stuff, it's for the betterment of everybody. I don't care about accolades or whatever else. I care about how to help those people around us get better at what they do and help them develop and increase their lives. That's what really matters. And ultimately, everything else just comes with that, really is what it comes down. I don't know if that answers your question, but
Mhm.
I think that's what happened is I took not a general interest, I took a real interest in the people we had around us and the people I developed caring about them.
If more leaders could just do that, we'd be in a great place. But it's so true. It's like you say you care about your people, and you can't name their child or where they went to college or what's important to them and all the things. Like, you don't want to just love people for their revenue. You want to love people because you care about them. They're not a number. And going from being selfish with being in sales to being selfless to helping others sell, it's a skill. It can be developed, but it is definitely something that you can work on to get better. So what is the one mindset shift you must happen, Brent, for someone to become a successful sales leader? If there was just one you could share right now.
I think it's what I just said. Because even as you were talking, it made me think about I don't care, and take this for what you will. I don't care about your revenue. I care about your revenue that you care about, that enhances your life. And revenue, money, whatever you want to call it. I'm using revenue as an overarching thing. I care to know, and I was taught this before one of the times I was recruited, Dew sat me down and she goes, what amount of money do you need to make? And she broke down my house payment. She broke down my bills. She broke down everything that I needed to do. And she said, that is where we start. To me, that's leadership as well, because she didn't care about what she was going to make off me. She didn't care about what the company was going to do. She didn't care about all that stuff. She cared about my life and what was important to me. And through osmosis, if you will, I don't know, through transformation, that is what that taught me. And leaders in the past that I had before her cared about the numbers of the company and what they're going to do that month. That was my goal. My goal from the time I started in sales till we started, or I started at Southwestern with Dew, every other stop that I had made was the company's goal. I was just given a task to do it. And that was the transformation. As I didn't know it at the time in the moment, but I saw what real leadership was about, that it was caring about the people. I saw that she would call me at 7:00 at night. I called that she would send me a text at 5:30 in the morning because she knew my schedule. I saw that she would call in the middle of the day when she knew I had something on my calendar that was important to me, a sales call, a workshop, whatever it was, just to see how it went. I saw that they helped me lay out my pipeline. I saw that they helped me with all of these things to inherently make me better as a human and as a dad and as a salesperson, in that order. That's when it dawned on me that there is more to this than just what is your number and how many phone calls are you going to make it. Because that's what I was taught. That's what I was taught. You can hear it in me. It almost makes me mad now thinking back on it.
So as a new sales leader too, like what's the difference between just checking someone's numbers and actually coaching them? Because I think a lot of people assume that they're doing that, or yeah, I coach them. Yeah, I check their stuff and whatnot. What's the difference?
If I can just put it in really layman's terms, how many phone calls are you making on a given day? Of those dials, how many people are you talking to? And I'm going to come back to this because this is basic stuff that you should know as a leader. Of those people you're talking to, how many appointments are you setting? Of those appointments set, how many are kept? Of those kept, how many are you moving to buy something? Let's call it what it is. So if I'm making phone calls and I'm not setting a lot of meetings or I'm not talking to people, she taught me, or they taught me finally, that you're just a dial dummy. You're just calling people to call them because the tick mark that you're putting on the thing, the report, feels really good that you're calling people. And I still use that to this day. I just had a conversation with a uber high leader in UBS about recruiting, and he's just making phone calls because he's had all these people in his pipeline forever. But how many new people is he adding into his pipeline to continue that growth? I didn't know that. I didn't know that because nobody had ever asked me about it and taught me it. So from there, she knows that I'm just a dial dummy and calling my maybes over and over again. She can see that, which is why I wasn't closing anything. So from there, the calls to the new people, which is where your business is going to grow, referrals come in there as well. So what's your referral rate? That's part of it, because if you're closing more, make it easier on yourself. I didn't know that either. You see where I'm going with all this. I don't need to lay it all out, but this is the stuff when you walk it down the line, in every part of that foundation, every part of those metrics, you can see what people are doing or are not doing with what they are doing. And then it goes into what should be on your calendar. Where should your time be spent? Who should you be going after? When are you planning? Like all those things, when you know the foundation of it, all that stuff goes into it. And that is what I was taught through this. And that's what we bring to you, because we can see what you're doing or what you're not doing or what you're letting yourself do or what you're letting yourself off the hook. Like we can see that based off your numbers. We can see that based off what you're speaking to us. Like we know, correct me if I'm wrong here, Jenny, we know when you're full of crap. I can pick it out from a mile away. If you're like, well, anything after that is you just trying to make something up. That's all it is.
So how do you coach someone who blames it on territory, leads, circumstances, location, leader? Like, how do you coach on someone when there's excuses coming out of their ass?
We just had this the other day. That is your victim mentality, is all it is. I used to say, there was one time, and I'll use Southwestern as a for instance. Southwestern's been around for 175 years, give or take, 170. And I started making phone calls in Minnesota. And I told my leader, it's harder for me because nobody knows who Southwestern is up here. You laugh at me. But people say that. That's just like my territory, my people. I don't have anybody. That's what I was telling her. Do you know what she said to me? Change it. Change it. So do you know what my goal became? Go out and talk to as many people as humanly possible to get the name Brent Widman out there. I could have sat there and said, because we did a lot in the mortgage world, we do a lot in the financial world, we do, let's say, real estate, any company. Like, I made it a point to go to any company, anywhere, and learn what they do. Or you can say, I don't have the leads, I don't have enough people, I don't have this. It's like we're in that leadership training last week, and one of them was saying the exact same thing. Well, I can't recruit 10 people, one of them stays. It's like, I don't care if you recruit 3 people and 1 or 2 of them stays. Everywhere you go, if you change your mentality on that, every single place that you go is an opportunity. I would drive down the highway. I would drive down, I'll name highways here, 494, 94, 394, 100, 169, and I would write down companies or take pictures as I'm driving down the road. I could have said, well, that doesn't work for me. Or I could do something about it. And that's what I would help somebody with, because I've done it. I can now help somebody with that. But if I'm just one of those people that's a leader or a coach that's never really done stuff, they just read a lot of books, that's great. Good for you. But you got to learn the business too at the same time. And that's what I had that was different than other people, I feel like, or in my mind it was. If I do it, I can teach you to do it. And you will know that I've done it because I can speak to it at the same time.
Well, and I will say some people don't even realize they're doing it, right? Like, some people don't realize that the excuses that are coming out of their mouth are just a full of shit. Like, they have to be called out on it to be able to understand, like, gosh, you're right. Like, I just remember one of the leaders last week when we were in that training, like, he went on for about 2 minutes and another leader called him out and he was like, sat there and he's like, you're right. Wow.
Yep.
Like, I didn't realize how negative I actually got. And so a great leader does call out what they hear are holding other people back. And you have to have enough confidence to be able to do it. And that's why I say all the time, like, this imposter syndrome or whatever you're going through, it's like, how are you living? How are you living as a leader? Because if you were working out, if you were doing what you said that you were going to do, if you are getting called out, if you're getting a coach, or if you're doing these things, it's really easy for you to call out other people because you're not contradicting, you're owning it. And so it's just asking yourself, how are you owning it? How are you doing better? So leading into my next question,
Can I
why
touch on real
do
quick?
some successful leaders resist coaching when they know they have blind spots? I'd love your answer on that, Brent, because I think that there's so many times that we see leaders that they just resist it. They don't want it. They don't need it. They don't think they need it. Why?
I'm going to answer that question pretty bluntly, and I'm going to come back to what you just touched on a little bit before. But Easiest answer to that is ego.
Mm.
It's ego. I'll elaborate, but that's all it is. If you would have asked me to have a coach 10 years ago, no, probably 15 years ago, nope. Sounds like a crock. Why do I need that? That's my mentality. Even when I started being a coach, I thought to myself, is this just the shake people that tell people to drink chocolate shakes and they'll get in shape? Because there's those people out there. And I signed up for that at one time. The ego of, I don't need help. It's funny because we were taught many years back, I'm just looking for open-minded people. Open-minded leaders are the best leaders. They are the ones that will take outside advice. They're the ones that will have a coach. Any leader that has a coach, I know I'm going to hit it off with. I know that they are going to do phenomenal because they're open-minded. They're willing to take advice. They're willing to be called out. This is where I was going to come back to the thing you just said. When you talked about working out, building yourself, accountability, all these things, because we do it, you can tell somebody when that leader went off about all his crap that he couldn't do and didn't work, we can look at him and go, stop. Because all that stuff you're telling yourself is just stuff you're telling yourself because none of it's true. It is the version of the story that you are making yourself. And that's what I'm trying to be politically correct here. That is what weak leaders do. They tell themselves the story. And it drives me absolutely crazy because we see the difference in the leaders that are open-minded and will let the ego go. Don't even typically, they have an ego, but it's an ego of confidence. It's an ego of, I have built myself to a point that I can give back to other people. Like, I feel like you and I are like this. We have egos, but it's because we do all the stuff and all the work that we got the degree in it, I guess, put it that way. I don't know how else to put it. We've shown up and we've done it. And we've been through the crap to get that degree to be able to help other people. And if you don't have a coach, if you're not willing to have a coach, if you're not willing to have somebody there to help you out, you're selling yourself short because you do not know it all. And then you are just the product of the yes people that you surround yourself with to make it sound good.
It's
Yeah,
true.
I'm pretty blunt.
And you have to find a coach that works for you too. I've had coaches in the past and therapists and all the things that I did not get along with, and they didn't push me. And I found out very quickly that I do not want this person to coach me. But when you click with someone, you click with someone. And I think it's very important to find someone that you feel like you can take feedback from and advice from, because who works with me is different than who works with Brent. And I being in this industry for so long, I mean, what, like 15 years, I've seen some male leaders don't want to take advice from a younger looking, you know, woman. And so
Say it.
it
It's
is
true.
nice to have Brent in my corner too, because he's that middle-aged man that some middle-aged mans can really get along with. But then there are other leaders that really do take advice from women very well. So you just have to find someone that fits for you, is my point.
It's funny, I get asked about that, or used to get asked about that. And the best coaches, now I love Mike, but the best coaches I've had, my best leaders were all women. The three best, and you included, are one of those three that have challenged me are women that were around the same age or younger than me. So I look at it like this, and maybe I'm biased. I don't care what you look like. Well, I do. let me rephrase that. I don't care how old you are. I care what you look like, as in, I care that you work out, because then you can tell me to work out. If you don't get to tell me. I care that you read, develop. That's what I mean by that. That if you're 30, but you do all the things that you have developed yourself to a point that you can then transfer that knowledge to me, I will wholeheartedly walk through that and listen to you and follow you, hands down. But if you're not doing the things to make yourself better, it's really hard to ask other people to make themselves better. So take a good hard look in the mirror. And I think that's when things started to change for me as well, that the confidence level went up, is when I started to do things to develop. Then now I could ask other people to do the things I could to develop. If that makes any logical sense at all, I guess.
I love it. And I'll finish with this, when it comes to who's coaching the leader while the leader is responsible for coaching everybody else. And I think that that's a very valid point. But one of my favorite stories is James Router. He works at New York Life, second highest EP in the company, one of the fastest tracks, does extremely, extremely well. And on our very first coaching call, his sentence was, I'm good at what I do, and I just want to, I know I'm capable of more. And that is why I am getting a coach. And it was awesome. It's like that ego was down, and he just knew exactly what he needed to get to that next level.
I love it. That is, and he is one of them. Thank you for being on here. I truly appreciate it. All of you that have listened. I hope some of this hits you and you look in the mirror and go, is that me? Can I do more? Am I capable of more? Am I the person? Like all the stuff, rewind this one and listen to it, because there is a lot of things here that tell you what you really can be and what you should be doing to help those around you. So thank you again. Thanks for joining us on the Your Limitless Leadership Podcast with Jenny and Brent Widman. We hope today's conversation inspired you to think differently about leadership, not just in your career, but in every part of your life. Remember, leadership starts with leading yourself first. It's about taking action, making bold decisions, and showing up with purpose. Now, it's time to take what you've heard today and put it into practice. Whether it's in your business, your community, your family, or your own personal growth, start leading without limits. You have the power to become the leader you're meant to be. Until next time, keep pushing your boundaries and leading with purpose.